Created by incredible talent and inspired by an intense love for its genre. Forged from lovingly crafted art, both visible and mechanical, it sparked the imaginations of countless young minds and blew wide open conventions we traditionally tied to JRPGs. A cult classic in its own right, and the launchpad for one of the most beloved video game developers in existence. Its influence is so strong, the industry as we know it would not be without its creation. And yet, this marvelous piece of history has been lost to us here in the States, shrouded by the veils of localization, or lack thereof, I should say. A pioneer and master of its own style, all contained within a single product, whose legacy is still being carried on to this very day. Hailing from the East, and I mean all the way to the East, the most insanely obscure game I own. Princess Crown! Are you kidding me? Okay, take 3. Damn it, I swear I've done this before. Okay, that one didn't count. My nose itched. Damn. Damn. Damn! Ladies and gentlemen, I've wanted to review this game for a long time. In fact, if we're being completely honest, it's the very reason I started this series. No joke! There would not be an RTGs if not for my desire to tell this game's story. So now you're wondering why I haven't reviewed it already, and that's because I wanted to do this right. I wanted to get used to the process of all this so that I can make the best episode possible. Princess Crown is an absolute masterpiece in every definition of the word, and deserves to be treated like one. Which is why I'm gonna dub over all these moon runes with the stupidest shit possible.
I crapped myself.
You're welcome. From what I can gather, this is the story of Gladriel, or Gladriel if we're being phonetically correct. I've also heard people call her Princess Claire, but after Thousand Year Door, I can't take that name seriously. There are a couple issues with names in this game, and it's doubly stupid when you understand the Japanese mindset behind titles. You don't just casually give your child a name overseas, okay? Parents are like, let's call him Walter. It's not like he has to be in daily contact with extremely judgmental bullies for 12 years straight. Your name says something about you in Japanese culture. Inafune-san himself talked about this when he was asked why he named his company Concept. In his own words,
日本語に名は体を表すっていうことがあってですね、名前が自分の性格であったりとか、自分自身を表すっていう言葉があるんです。
So maybe one of you can fill me in on what they were thinking when they named this guy Portgus Crisford. Okay, first off, that's not a name. You took 3 actual names and you scrunched them together with something only vaguely related to pirates. Second, what the fuck is a Portgus, and what does it say about you as a person if you're named after one? And I'm sorry, what are you called again? Edward Glowstar? Oh, so we're playing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure now. I can get behind that. Right, I'm gonna make this easier for everyone involved. Hawkeye, Arthur, Willow, and because you guys can't make up your own damn minds about this, I'm gonna do it for you. From this day forward, little lady, I christen thee Princess Kickass, because that's what you'll be doing as this woman throughout the game, and holy crow is she good at it. Kudos to the devs here because they somehow turned 3 buttons into a very satisfying action RPG, and a unique one at that. This game feels more like Street Fighter than it does Secret of Mana. Look, you've got health bearers on... Oh, what the fuck did I just say? You've got health bars on either side of the top screen, you have to carefully plan your attacks and manage your range, you block by holding back, there's a combo counter, a wave dash, and you even have special moves, all balanced out by a meter that keeps you from just mindlessly button mashing your way through everything. It's a fighting game with RPG elements. And I know that sounds like blending a platformer with a rhythm game, but in both cases, it totally works. Why haven't more developers tried genre-blending experiments like this? And the best part is, because this is a fighting game, all the enemies had to have their own move lists. Even the dodos you meet in the beginning of the game keep about 5 different tricks up their sleeves. Wings, whatever. You don't feel that same sense of boredom from fighting identical enemies that you get in other RPGs because every opponent in Princess Crown could surprise you at any moment. It's worth fighting them again and again just in case they do something different this time, and it's from learning those attacks and tells that you gradually get better at controlling Kick-Ass herself. Here's a fun topic. Let's discuss common themes in George Kamitani games and how a lot of them started with this title. He likes making characters that follow the one you control, and while their presence hasn't always been, welcome, per se, if it looks like a person and has tiny little wings, they've always been useful. The helper is even upgradable in this game. You can teach this fairy to fight, give you info when you enter a new area, etc., etc. Arya is a companion you actually want, and especially in a game that requires this much skill to begin with, the actual help from your helper character is much appreciated. Another thing Georgie Boy seems to be big on is food, specifically what goes into its preparation. Meals are an event in Vanillaware games, but when eating them is one of the best ways to make your character more powerful, hey, why shouldn't they be? You can find the means to cook in Princess Crown very early on. Just grab a pan, some spices, and something to munch, and you're good to go. Don't use the results for healing, though. Instead, eat your grilled food when your health is already full, because it'll raise your max HP up by 1 point. That may not seem like much, but trust me, it adds up real quick. This game is a grinder's paradise in that sense. You could spend hours and hours here in the starting areas just building up stats, even after the levels start getting further and further apart. And believe me, more than any other Vanillaware game, you're gonna need it. You thought Odin Sphere was hard? This dragon starts the battle at half HP and he'll still eat through your health like a Quaker Oats bar. Now I'm just making myself hungry. Moving on. Dude also seems to be really big on muscular women. Hey man, it's your game. I tried putting Miku in a maid's uniform, so I can't judge. That's a full uniform, mind you. None of this just the headband nonsense some other developers are pulling these days. I hate that shit. Look at this game. Opening scene, we have an entire castle stuffed with 4 floors of headbands, aprons, and long, long dresses. You know who's doing it right? This guy. If there's one singular bit of wisdom that any future developers watching this can take from me ever, let it be this. Literally and figuratively, do not half-ass your fan service. That is all. Now, I keep saying this is a Vanillaware title, yet you'll notice their logo is nowhere to be found in-game or on the case. Well, here's a little history for you. Princess Crown was co-developed by members of both Atlus and Sega, and there were 2 key players to this team, Toshikazu Tanaka and, of course, George Kamitani. Tanaka is also known as Denshu, or more specifically, the fucking man. This is the dude that composed Metal Slug, people. Metal Slug. The reason you can find Princess Crown's music online so easily is because his work on the game was so good it warranted the full soundtrack to be released standalone. He even remastered it again when the game was remade for the PSP in 2011. I definitely recommend hunting this thing down if you can. All that leaves now is Kamitani, and turns out after this game's development, he gained an urge to work on more games like it, but with full creative control over the finished product. He and 2 other members of the original development team split off into a group called Puraguru, who, 2 years and 20 employees later, changed their name to Vanillaware. They immediately started work on Odin Sphere, which, get this, was nicknamed Princess Crown 2 during development. Now, it's common knowledge amongst JRPG enthusiasts that Odin Sphere was inspired by Princess Crown, but what you may not realize is that Muramasa the Demon Blade was also referred to as Princess Crown 3. Yup, despite the similar titles, Dragon's Crown is more a sequel to Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom, which Kamitani also worked on. This game's very existence has affected the company's entire output for almost 2 decades now. It was everything that started here that led to us getting here, here, and here, and because of that, I think any fan of Kamitani's work owes this game just a little bit of gratitude because of that. Never mind that it's a kick-ass game in its own right. I only recommend buying the original to hardcore collectors, though. Bear in mind, while the PSP is region-free, the Saturn is not. So if you want to play Japanese Saturn games, you need a Japanese Saturn. That's right, I bought an entire console just so I could play this game, but personally, I think it was worth every penny. Granted, that could just be because I'm a total JRPG fanboy, but hey, at least this is an import worth defending. Unlike some other things I could mention, it's a huge part of this genre's history, and it directly led to the creation of one of the biggest fan-favorite developers out there right now. I don't get to say this often, but Princess Crown really is, without any question, 110% a total underrated gem. And it's one of the shiniest ones on my shelf.